outlets have shamefully and intentionally failed to report until President Trump drew attention to it.
Disturbing surveillance video shows Iryna Zarutska, a refugee from war-torn Ukraine who sought peace and safety in the USA, stepping onto the train after finishing her shift at a pizza restaurant. In the seat behind her is 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown. Watch as he slowly opens a pocket knife, then stands and without warning plunges the knife into his victim in an unprovoked attack. He strides away, and at first, even Iryna doesn't seem to realize how badly wounded she is. But her life is ebbing away.
Beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead.
This video discusses a violent crime resulting in death. While we avoid graphic details, the content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. It's a Thursday night in Charlotte, North Carolina. A young woman boards the Blue Line light rail after finishing her shift at a local pizzeria. She's wearing her work t-shirt, earbuds in, checking her phone. She texts her boyfriend, "I'll be home soon." She takes the first available seat. She has no idea someone is sitting directly behind her, and she has no idea that in less than 5 minutes, her life will be over. Her name was Iryna Zarutska. She was 23 years old, and she had already survived a war. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, I just want to say, this is going to be a heavy one today. If you've been following the news, you might have heard about what happened in Charlotte last month, but there's so much more to this story than what made headlines. Today, we're talking about Iryna Zarutska, a 23-year-old woman who fled a war zone, came to America seeking safety, and lost her life in one of the most senseless acts of violence I've ever had to cover. But this isn't just about what happened to Iryna. It's about the cascade of failures in mental health care, in our criminal justice system, in public safety, that allowed this tragedy to occur. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just what happened on that train, but how multiple systems failed both Iryna and, in a different way, the man who took her life, and why her family is now demanding that we do better. Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. And if this story affects you, please take care of yourself while watching. To understand the full weight of this tragedy, you need to know who Iryna was, because she wasn't just a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, an artist, and a young woman with dreams that were just beginning to take shape. Iryna was born and raised in Kiev, Ukraine. According to her obituary, she graduated from Synergy College with a degree in art and restoration. She was incredibly talented. Her family and friends describe her as a gifted artist who loved sculpting and designing unique, eclectic clothing. She would create pieces and give them as gifts to people she cared about. That was just who she was. But in 2022, everything changed. When Russia invaded Ukraine, Iryna's world was turned upside down. Her family lived through daily bombings, never knowing if they would survive another day. A family friend named Lonnie later told news station WCNC about the horror they endured, the constant fear, the bomb shelters, the uncertainty. In 2022, Iryna made the difficult decision to leave her homeland. She fled Ukraine with her mother, her sister, and her brother, leaving behind her father who remained in Kiev. According to multiple news sources, Iryna and her family arrived in the United States in 2022 as refugees. They settled in Charlotte, North Carolina, moving in with Iryna's uncle and aunt. And from the moment she arrived, Iryna embraced her new life with remarkable determination. Her uncle, who spoke to Good Morning America, but requested not to be named, said Iryna immediately wanted to work. She didn't waste time. As soon as she received the proper documentation, she started working. First at a sandwich shop, then at an assisted living facility alongside her mother. She was taking English classes at Rowan Cabarrus Community College, and according to her uncle, she became fluent quickly. By August 2025, Iryna was working full-time at Zappetti's Pizzeria in Charlotte's South End neighborhood. Her co-workers adored her. After her death, the restaurant posted on social media, "We lost not only an incredible employee, but a true friend. Iryna, we miss you more than words can say." Charlotte's South End is a transformed neighborhood. High-end apartments, trendy restaurants, breweries. It's the kind of place where young people build their lives. And that's exactly what Iryna was doing. Her uncle told Good Morning America that Iryna had a deep love for animals. she dreamed of becoming a veterinary assistant. She would walk neighbors' dogs, care for their pets, always with what people remembered as her radiant smile. She was planning to pursue that dream through school. In May 2025, just 3 months before her death, Iryna moved in with her boyfriend. Her family said she was happy, genuinely happy. Her uncle told ABC News that in the last text message he received from her, she was expressing gratitude for her life in the United States. Think about that for a moment. This young woman had survived a war. She'd left her father behind, left her homeland, learned a new language, built a new life. She was working, going to school, planning her future. Her uncle described her as the glue of the family, a comforter, a confidant. And on August 22nd, 2025, she texted her boyfriend after finishing her shift at the pizzeria, "I'll be home soon." She never made it home. Now here's where I need you to pay close attention, because there's another side to this story that's crucial to understanding what happened that night. While Iryna was building her new life in Charlotte, a man named DeCarlos Brown Jr. was struggling in ways that his family desperately tried to address. According to news reports from CNN and other outlets, Brown was 34 years old in August 2025. His mother, Michelle DeWitt, and his sister, Tracy Brown, later spoke publicly about his battles with mental illness. Brown had a lengthy criminal history. State records show he had been convicted of armed robbery, felony larceny, and breaking and entering. He spent more than 5 years in prison for robbery with a dangerous weapon, being released in 2020. But according to his sister Tracy, when Brown got out of prison, he didn't seem like himself. He struggled to hold conversations. He couldn't keep a job. And he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. His family told CNN that Brown suffered from hallucinations and paranoia. His sister said he sometimes became aggressive. He even attacked her in 2022, though she chose to drop the charges out of concern for his mental health. She told reporters that her brother would tell her the government had implanted a chip in him. He believed people could read his mind. A person that is hearing voices in their head and believes the world is against them, they're going to break, Tracy Brown told CNN. And I think that night he broke. By August 2025, Brown was homeless and living in a local shelter. His mother had tried desperately to get him placed in a long-term mental health facility, but according to Tracy Brown, those attempts failed because she wasn't his legal guardian. Now here's the part that's absolutely crucial to this story. In January 2025, 7 months before Iryna's death, Brown was arrested. According to court documents, he had called 911 multiple times, asking officers to investigate what he described as a man-made material that controlled when he ate, walked, and talked. When officers explained this was a medical issue and there was nothing more they could do, Brown became upset and continued calling 911. He was charged with misuse of 9/11, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and then he was released. According to court records, his release was conditioned only on a written promise that he would appear for his next hearing. Let that sink in for a moment. A man with documented severe mental illness, a history of violence, and clear signs he was in crisis, was released back onto the streets with just a promise to show up for court. According to FBI Special Agent James Barnacle Jr., Brown had been charged 14 times in the past. 14 times. And yet, as Agent Barnacle stated, he was still on the streets leading up to the attack. On Sunday, August 18th, 2025, 4 days before the attack, Brown's mother told CNN that he showed up at her home early in the morning. He'd just been released from the hospital and asked to stay the night. Later that morning, she dropped him off at a Statesville Avenue shelter, gave him a hug, told him she loved him, and went to church. 4 days later, everything would change. Thursday, August 22nd, 2025. It's a warm evening in Charlotte. Iryna finished her shift at Zapetti's Pizzeria around 9:30 p.m. According to her family's statement, she texted her boyfriend, "I'll be home soon." She walked to the nearby Blue Line light rail station, the same train she'd taken countless times before. Charlotte's Blue Line is a light rail system that's been operating since 2007. It runs through the heart of the city, and it's how thousands of people get to work, get home, live their lives every day. It's supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be monitored. Shortly before 10 p.m., Iryna boarded the train. Surveillance footage, which was later released by the Charlotte Area Transit System, shows exactly what happened next. And I want to be clear, we're not going to show graphic footage here, but I'm going to walk you through what happened because it's important to understand how this unfolded. Here's what's so chilling about this. The surveillance footage shows they never interacted. Iryna didn't speak to him. She didn't look at him. She had no reason to think she was in any danger whatsoever. The train traveled for approximately 4.5 minutes. Just a normal ride. Iryna sat there, probably thinking about getting home. Maybe about what she'd do when she got there. And then, according to the affidavit, Brown pulled a knife from his pocket. The footage shows Brown unfolding the knife. Iryna is still looking at her phone, completely unaware. She's just sitting there. Then Brown suddenly stood up, grabbed the seat bar in front of him with his left hand, and stabbed Iryna with his right hand. According to the affidavit, he struck her 3 times. The affidavit describes that Iryna curled up, her knees to her chest, her hand over her mouth. She looked up at her attacker. About 15 seconds later, she collapsed to the floor. A woman who had survived war, who had crossed an ocean to find safety, who was just trying to get home after work, died on the floor of a train, surrounded by strangers. According to the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, a 911 call came in at 9:56 p.m. The caller reported a woman had been stabbed in the throat. A witness on the train directed police to the suspect's location. Brown was taken into custody that night and transported to a hospital for treatment of a laceration he'd sustained. Iryna was pronounced dead at the scene. Meanwhile, back at Iryna's apartment, her boyfriend was waiting for her. When she didn't arrive at the expected time, he and other loved ones became alarmed. According to the family's attorney statement, they checked her phone's location. It showed she was still at the train station. Can you imagine the growing panic? The confusion turning to dread? They went to the station, and that's where they learned the devastating truth. Iryna had died at the scene. Iryna's uncle was out of town when it happened. He told Good Morning America that his wife called him and said simply, "Come home right now." By Friday morning, August 23rd, news of the brutal attack had spread across Charlotte. But it would be days before the full details emerged, and weeks before the surveillance footage was released to the public. The footage, when it finally came out, shocked the nation, not just because of the violence, but because of how random it was, how preventable it should have been. In the immediate aftermath, police moved quickly to piece together what had happened and who DeCarlos Brown Jr. really was. Brown was arrested and initially charged with first-degree murder by Charlotte Mecklenburg Police on August 22nd. But as investigators dug deeper into his background, a disturbing pattern emerged. According to news reports from CNN and other outlets, Brown had 14 prior cases in North Carolina's court system dating back to 2011. These range from minor offenses like speeding and shoplifting to more serious charges. He had convictions for armed robbery, felony larceny, and breaking and entering. Most significantly, he had served more than 5 years behind bars for robbery with a dangerous weapon, being released in 2020. But here's where this story becomes about more than just one tragic incident. After his release from prison in 2020, Brown's mental health appeared to deteriorate significantly. When investigators interviewed Brown's family, they learned that his mother, Michelle DeWitt, had been trying desperately to get her son help. According to Brown's sister Tracy, their mother had sought an involuntary commitment order from the courts after witnessing her son's erratic behavior. DeWitt told CNN affiliate WSOC that despite her efforts to help her son, the system failed him. The specifics of what happened with that involuntary commitment order and her attempts to find long-term care remain unclear. But what is clear is that Brown never received the sustained mental health treatment his family believed he desperately needed. September 3, 2025, federal authorities announced additional charges. According to the United States Attorney's Office for the Western District of North Carolina, Brown was charged in federal court with one count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. This federal charge is significant for one major reason. It carries a possible death penalty. The U.S. Attorney's Office stated that this charge could make Brown eligible for capital punishment. President Donald Trump publicly called for Brown to receive the death penalty, posting on social media that he should be awarded the death penalty. Brown's next court appearance was scheduled for September 19, 2025. Before that, a judge ordered him to be evaluated for 60 days in a local hospital to determine his competency to stand trial. According to multiple news sources, including PBS NewsHour and WFAE, Brown has been diagnosed with schizophrenia. When his sister Tracy spoke to him after his arrest and asked why he attacked Iryna, his response was chilling and sad in equal measure. Because she was reading my mind, he told her. This is a man who was deeply, profoundly unwell. A man whose mother literally tried to get him institutionalized. A man who believed the government had implanted chips in his body that people could read his thoughts. Iryna's family, through their attorney, issued a statement demanding a full investigation into lapses in security protocols and failures within the public transportation system. They specifically cited several concerns: a lack of visible or effective security presence on the Lynx Blue Line, failures of oversight in the contract between the Charlotte Area Transit System and professional security services, and the absence of adequate safety measures that could have prevented the attack.
I just give my love and hope to the family of the young woman who was stabbed. Lunatic just got up and started. It's right on the tape. Not really watchable because it's so horrible, but just viciously stabbed. She's just sitting.
Today, I would like to address the tragedy that has not received nearly enough media attention: the brutal murder of Iryna Zarutska. Here are the facts that many outlets have shamefully and intentionally failed to report until President Trump drew attention to it. On August 22nd, Iryna Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina by a savage career criminal. This is a public transportation system that many in the area use every single day to go to school and work. Iryna was on the train that night traveling home from her job at a pizzeria, still in uniform from her shift. This beautiful, innocent 23-year-old young woman was a Ukrainian refugee who had recently fled her country for a chance at a safer life and a promising new beginning here in the United States of America. But tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left. The president and the entire White House are praying for her family and friends during this unimaginably difficult time. But while we extend our thoughts and prayers, we must also seek justice for this crime and call attention to this heinous incident. Surveillance video of the killing was finally released to the public this past Friday. It shows the alleged killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., pull out a knife, get up from his seat behind Iryna and prepare to thrust a blade into her neck before the released footage gets cut. This is pure evil on full display. The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. DeCarlos Brown has been charged with crimes no fewer than 14 times, dating back to 2011, including for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written
The
promise
outpouring
and
from
come back
Charlotte's
again
community
another day.
was,
This is
according to
madness.
Iryna's
This
uncle,
monster should have been
unbelievable.
locked up, and Iryna
Neighbors,
should still be
co-workers,
alive.
and people
But
she'd
Democrat
helped shared
politicians,
stories of her
liberal
kindness.
judges, and weak
She would paint
prosecutors
murals
rather
in people's
virtue
homes.
signal than lock
She
up
would take care of their
criminals
dogs
and
and
protect their
children.
communities.
In the short time she'd been in Charlotte, she'd touched countless lives. Her co-workers at Zapetti's Pizzeria posted a heartbreaking tribute. "We lost not only an incredible employee, but a true friend. Iryna, we miss you more than words can say." Rowan Cabarrus Community College, where Iryna had been taking English classes, released a statement saying, "We are heartbroken to hear about the death of one of our former students, Iryna Zarutska, whose life was taken in this tragic event." The Ukrainian embassy reached out to Iryna's family, offering support and condolences. Her death resonated deeply within the refugee community, people who had fled war, seeking safety in America, only to be reminded that violence exists everywhere. Through their attorney, Iryna's family issued a powerful statement. Beyond expressing their grief, they demanded systemic change. They called for a full investigation into security failures, better oversight of transit security contracts, and improved safety measures on public transportation. "This could have been anyone riding the light rail that night," the family said. "We are committed to making sure this never happens again."
It was a very touching call. Our hearts go out to them. She is a refugee. She literally came to the United States from a bomb shelter in Ukraine to escape the war, and she was going about her day. She was coming home from work on a light rail train, like all of us do all the time, and she was brutally murdered. As a native of Charlotte, I'm so sad to say that our city has gotten to this place. I was born here. I grew up here. I remember when the light rail was built. I remember the development it spurred. I remember the excitement. And to think now that you can't even feel comfortable riding that train hits me deep. The light rail brought this city access to jobs, access to education. People could take the train to college. It really put Charlotte on the map. And this incident has really injured that. Now, DeCarlos Brown Jr., who we allege stabbed Iryna Zarutska, is in state custody on first-degree murder charges. But I'm here today to announce that we're going to supplement those state charges with federal charges. These federal charges will go alongside the murder case in state court, and we hope that they will ensure justice for Iryna, for her family, and for the whole Charlotte community. The charge we are bringing is in Title 18, which is the criminal code. It's section 1992A7, which is the law that Congress passed really for this situation. It is an act of violence on a mass transportation system. It is a law that is there because acts like this affect the American way. It affects our daily life. It is random acts on a train that are the thoroughbred and how we get through our cities to work, to our places of education, to our families. It is our way of American life. Crime makes people stop taking that light rail. They give up those opportunities, and we are here to be sure that we can save our city and bring those opportunities back. The maximum penalty for this federal crime is life in prison without parole or the death penalty. Of course, each individual case receives its own sentencing hearing by a federal judge that will decide the sentence based on the individual factors in this case. Of course, at this point, we're only making allegations. We do have a charge. We filed a criminal complaint. It has been signed by a federal judge. The charges have been brought, but they are just charges. Getting there has been a process. I want to thank the FBI, which has an incredible team that has investigated this case. They've ensured we had a basis for federal charges. I want to thank the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department that started this investigation, apprehended the defendant immediately after the incident happened at the light rail station. And I want to thank the District Attorney's Office and Spencer Merriweather, who brought first-degree murder charges right away when this happened. I think everyone knows the facts of this case, but I will briefly recitate what is in our criminal complaint. And that is that at 9:55 on August 22nd, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department responded to a call that there had been a stabbing on a light rail train. They located the victim, who had been suffered stab wounds in her neck, on her hand. They found a pocket knife on the scene, and they apprehended the defendant at the rail stop. This is obviously a horrible, horrible situation. But this is why federal statutes exist. They exist to take care of situations like this because no one should sit in fear when they sit on the light rail. If you sit in fear on the light rail, you sit in fear when you walk around the streets of our center city like I do every day. You sit in fear when you go to our parks like I do with my daughter every weekend. You sit in fear at our sporting events, our entertainment venues, at concerts, at restaurants, at our museums. These are all the things that we have worked as a city so hard to build. We built this city. Companies have come here in droves. More than 150 people move here every day. We built a city that people want to live in, but we can lose that all if we allow violent crime like this to go on in our streets. And I'm here to tell you, the federal government is going to save our city from that. To Iryna's family, we will pursue justice. We will use the full weight of the law. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate your attention to this case. I know this has gotten national attention. I know that there is a lot of thoughts about this case. There's policy decisions being made because of this case. But as someone who just talked to the family of the victim, I hope you'll remember her. Because this is hard for them. It's their case, and we will bring justice here. I'll now turn it over to Special Agent in Charge Barnacle.
Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. Thank you for everyone that's here today. You know, I'm saddened to be up here today talking about a violent, heinous act that occurred on our metro system. This could have happened to any young person that was riding the train that night, but it didn't. It happened to Iryna, and her death is an absolute tragedy. There's no one who will debate that point. Even more tragic, she chose to come to Charlotte to escape the violence of her war-torn home in Ukraine. Iryna had settled into our community. She made friends. She immediately got a job. The first day she was allowed to work, and she got a work permit here, she got a job that very first day. She worked at a senior citizen center. She worked at a pizza place. She took care of animals in the neighborhood. She was building her young life. She had recently moved in with her partner. Her family let us know she graduated from college in Kyiv with a degree in art and restoration. We don't know the extent of what obstacles she faced in the Ukraine, other than we did learn just a few moments ago that she was living in a bomb shelter. Sadly, everyone saw in surveillance video how tragic her life ended. We're shocked, we're saddened. It's very, very difficult. This young lady rode that train many times. She was probably tired after a long day at work and just trying to get home to her loved ones, but she never made it. In an instant, her life was over, and her mother, her father, her siblings, her brother and sister, and her other family and friends, their lives will never be the same. As you heard from U.S. Attorney Ferguson, we spoke with Iryna's mother, Anna, and her uncle just a few minutes ago, and we told them of the federal charges brought against Carlos Brown Jr. We hope this additional charge will help bring them a measure of justice and accountability for this horrific act. I want to thank our partners, Chief Jennings and the CMPD. We work every day with this police department. We co-locate agents and officers and detectives from the police department on our violent crimes and safe streets task forces. This is not a policing problem. CMPD is out there every day protecting our streets. You may not know how close we are to the police departments, but throughout this state, our partnerships with local police departments and state departments are critical to the work that we do.
Ask that we remember her not for how she died, but for how she lived, with kindness, creativity, hope, and resilience. And they ask that we honor her memory by demanding the changes necessary to ensure this never happens to anyone else. What do you think about this case? What reforms do you think are needed? Let me know in the comments below, but please keep the discussion respectful. This affects real families who are still grieving. If this video affected you, please take care of yourself. And if you found it informative, consider subscribing to the channel. We cover cases like this not to sensationalize tragedy, but to understand how and why these things happen, and what we can do differently. Thank you for watching.